Hello everybody, and I'll be going over the ultimate guide on how to get as many coins as possible for the Chase 2 currently. Now, just to forward up, I will be making a better / updated version of this guide once the recode comes out, because obviously this video is meant for the old pillar trace that is out right now. So this will be an outdated video at some point in the future. But for now, any people that currently play Pillar Chase in the current version, this is for you. Alright, I'll be going into rather some sections whether everybody knows about it. It's pretty straightforward. Middle part, which is some people may know, some people do it, not that well known, but still pretty efficient. And onto the last part, which is barely anybody knows about it, or maybe you might only know about it, but nobody else does really. Now I'll be going into the basics and straightforward parts of the video for coins. Here we go. Now, the first thing is your objectives. I don't really have to explain much for this because it's really simple. Obviously, most of the time, mostly around 90% of the time, Pillar Chase, you will in fact be a survivor, and it's pretty simple. Every map varies by different objectives. There could be as little as one objective you have to do, maybe 2 objectives, maybe 3, maybe 4. I don't really think there's 4 anymore, but I think it's 3 and some around. But either 1, 2, or 3. Doesn't matter what map, but just know every map will have an objective. Now, every map will have an objective. Now, there are specific types, whether it's longer or rather shorter or quicker, in a way to put it. So, we're going over right now. You are going to want to immediately after the match starts find the nearest objective and get it done. Yeah, there might be some areas where it's more easier to do the objective and whatnot, but trust me, if you're in it for the money, do every single one. There might be a slight chance you might risk yourself getting killed by the monster, or rather the other way around, is monster hero. Now, to put it into description basically too, I have another essential you are gonna likely need, or maybe you already have it, which maybe it doesn't or maybe it does, but personally me, it does help by a lot, is headphones. Now, I'm uncertain if most of you pillar chasers are people who play with headphones, enhanced hearing and whatnot, or people that just play with the device phone. In my opinion, you're better off playing Pillar Chase with headphones. Now you may be wondering why. Well, I'm going to give you a straight answer. Or at least in my opinion, unless it's like this, but I just see headphones as a more superior option. But audio cues. Another thing to point out is if you're somebody who likes to maybe have some music while you're playing Pillar Chase 2, well, at least for survivors. For monsters, you can probably listen to music, but for survivors at least, I'd recommend you do not listen to music. Why? Because here's the issue with it. If you're listening to another audio while playing a game that heavily, in my opinion, relies on the survivor, aka you, to listen to your surroundings. Obviously, there's some monsters, like for example, stealth killers, like Jeff the Killer, potentially EXE, and etc., right? Those guys are sort of stealthy / people that you won't really hear, that you need to heavily rely on your audio to tell which way it's going. If you have headphones, this makes it much more easier, as you can sort of hear directionally which way, or rather which side, the monster is coming from, whether it be the left, the right, straight forward, or backward. It's really easy to tell where the monster would be at if you have headphones. Now, if you somebody who rather plays with the audio from the device or speakers or whatnot, it might work, but in my opinion, just please, literally any headphone would work. Just like I said, this game heavily, in my opinion, relies on audio. So, but also do not put any music, because that would mess up your gameplay and you have a higher chance of dying. Because there could be, let's say, a monster right next to you, right, and you wouldn't even know because you have something blasting in your ears, right? So, suggestion: don't play music. Rely on your audio, more specifically headphones. The next one. Next we have is, like I said, this is extremely straightforward, but obviously in the game, if you're somebody who rather plays, but you tend to be AFK a lot, I suggest you dedicate a little section or a specific time period to play Pillar Chase 2. If you're somebody who has a lot of time in your hands, that obviously just play every game. Yeah, okay, on one hand, you might not want to play a match with, let's say, somebody who's like gold or diamond, right? Because that's going to be excruciating and make it miserable for you. As much as it sucks to hear, you're going to have to, at least in my opinion, play that game. Why? Because you could be missing out on points. Pretty straightforward. You're going to be missing out on 85 coins plus 4 or 5 extra if you successfully live through the match, which makes it 90 coins rather. So, as much as it sucks, you should be playing every single match, regardless or not if the monster is a new person, an experienced player, or someone who's heavily experienced in the game. Like I said, it doesn't matter what 3, just play the game, get the coins, and get it to go. Next is a pretty strange thing, but that works for me. Here's relying on your teammates to die. Now, this might come out as rather rude or, in one way, really confusing, but I will try to simplify it as best as I can. What do I mean by getting your teammates killed? You might think, oh, okay, just they die, right? Not exactly. Well, here, let me put it in a way you can understand. Now, let's just say you are in a match, you are a survivor, and it is a full lobby, let's say for example. 14 players, 1 killer, you, survivors, makes it 13. 13 survivors. Now, if survivors were to start dying extremely fast, or just literally the monster finds, kills, that will reduce your chance of getting points. Why? Because if rather a survivor were to die every 15-20 seconds, the match would be obviously extend more and more and more, but that means your coin passive won't really stop, or rather it won't end too quickly if everyone dies and you're only stuck with, let's say, 30-40 coins, right? Well, and again, it's still best, obviously, if you have a teammate who's damaged and whatnot, or your friends, obviously it's best to heal them and not get them killed, obviously. But if you're with some randoms that you don't really care about, then hey, just hope for the best that they die, or rather not too frequently as to get your coin boosted. Now, for another rather interesting one, but also risky, now, you may be wondering, why would I risk myself just to get a couple coins for the monster? Well, put it this way. Every time you're in a chase, and you successfully end the chase, you get coins. Well, as this may sound really upsetting, or rather really risky, you should purposefully try to get in the way of the monster. But what do I mean by this? Obviously, you don't want to be directly in front of it, but just go somewhere near it while the chase team will play. So obviously, as long as the monster's chase team is playing, and you walk away from it, you get coins for successfully escaping a chase. It's in the name, Pillar Chase 2, correct? So, what you're going to want to do is, obviously, whether it's any monster, it really depends too on the monster, whether they're good and whether they can kill people in groups or if it's single, right? But you're gonna want to be in a nice sort of safe spot where the monster won't detect where you're at. But also be near a survivor at all times. If you hear obviously a survivor being chased or anything like that, you're gonna want to head towards them, but obviously not too close to not get yourself killed first of all, and rather just wait for the chase team to play for as little as 2 seconds, and then immediately slide or run away or use an ability or whatnot, and you successfully get coins. You're gonna want to keep. This might sound wrong, obviously, but you're gonna want to keep edging that chase team over and over again, and your coins meter will rake up really quick. You're gonna rack up and up and up, and who knows, you'll be able to max it out just like that. Once again, it's also map dependent too. If it's a really small map and happens to be an EXE, it's not gonna be the really best option, as the traps will be in the way. You won't have much space to hide, let alone any space to move at all, or even get yourself purposely in a chase to get the coins. So I recommend to do it better in a bigger map where there's more flexibility and more space to use around. There's a lot of maps, but there's some that are not really that just a thought of mine. Now, next we'll be going into another one. Go. Now, on to the next one. Now for this one, this will require a upgrade or a perk for you to use. Once again, if you want to, it's up to you, but I would recommend using this perk. But you are likely gonna require the double down upgrade. Now, why would I be suggesting double down? As well as the Taskmaster, which is free, obviously. Everyone can do everything. Now, why do I recommend these two personally? Well, here's why. Taskmaster, if you're somebody who just wants to get the task done and easy, Taskmaster, simple. Highlights all objectives on the map that you're using. So whether you're a new player or not, you'll be able to know whichever spot these objectives, or rather, stuff to do is at. That way you won't get lost or remember if you went to that one or not. This is heavily good for obviously getting monster chance as well as coins, as I mentioned. Now, in regards to double down, description. Upon using the item, there is a random chance that the item will be readded to your inventory. It doesn't specify what random chance, but in my opinion, I always thought about it as a 50-50 chance. Once again, not confirmed at 50-50, but that's just the thought I have. Now, why do I suggest double down, really? Well, you have a chance to get the item back. So, let's just say you have a medkit, right? And you take some damage. Obviously, heal it up. You get a good amount of coins for healing yourself. And hey, you find another medkit, that's pretty cool. But by the small chance you do get the medkit back, that'll be even better. As you might also, just, in case you get hit again or whatnot, heal over and over. As long as you keep receiving that medkit or any other item, really, keep healing to get coins. For another one. Once again, this will require rather a specific monster. But I mean, I could be wrong, I could be right, but as of right now, I'm going with it. Now, what monsters would this method rather work with? Realistically, Baldi, EXE, Vapor potentially, Niloticus perhaps, in a way, I'm not really sure. Inkfell could be good, and that's about it for what I think. Every other monster that I haven't listed, obviously, they deal extreme amount of damage, which you won't really get time to. Now, why did I list these monsters in specific? Well, Baldi is able to summon notebooks. Answering a notebook, whether you get it right or wrong, will damage you. And if you're somebody who doesn't really care about like items or whatnot, just simply this goes for as well as EXE and Info, whether you're in a portal and you just have to rely on it to explode, unless I'm mistaken, obviously. And Niloticus is radioactive. But you're gonna want to purposefully walk into either Baldi's notebook, EXE's trap, Niloticus is radioactive floor or door, whatever I'm trying to say it. Inkfell, he doesn't really damage you, but you just kind of wait around it for a long time. But I wouldn't really consider Inkfell, so I'll be scratching them. So Niloticus, EXE, and Baldi. Now, why these three? Like I mentioned, you walk into it, you take damage, right? I say the best option would be EXE, considering that his trap deals a quick amount of damage, which means, well, it depends how quick you are to get rid of it. But just simply walk into it. If he's not nearby, obviously you do not, and I mean do not, as well as from Niloticus and Baldi, want to walk into the traps while you're in a chase. If no one's nearby, specifically the monsters, purposely walk yourself into it, take some damage, at least up to maybe 70, 60, right? Around that time. After you do so, go to a safe spot and heal it off. Why? Because you obviously get a point for healing yourself. Another option, obviously, is once again, if it's rather well, this other option kind of relies on EXE too, if there is one that plays. But let's say the EXE is placing traps, right? And you are near a survivor, and they happen to hit or walk into a EXE trap by accident, right? Well, everybody knows about this, or at least I do. But if you help that player out of that EXE trap, you get coins. I know they did nerf. Well, this was a long, not sure exactly, but they did nerf it a long time ago. But now it's still pretty efficient, obviously. But obviously, any player that you see that walk into a trap, you're gonna want to immediately run towards them and obviously get them out of the trap. Why? Because it's a pretty good source of getting points that you can rack up at least a good, maybe 10, 15. I'm not really sure how many it gives, obviously. But I know for a fact it does give you a good amount of points. Depending whether it's the player that's walking into him or rather you that's walking into him and then healing yourself later, obviously. Baldi's isn't really as efficient because if you get it right, you take 5 damage. But if rather you don't get it right, you do take a hefty amount of damage. Which, if I'm not wrong, I think it's 50. It takes away active health. Unless I'm wrong. Sure. But yeah. If that happens, go forward and you'll get some money. Now on to probably the more into later categories. Options, or rather ways that not many people know about, but this can work, I guess. Once again, this requires you to have money in order to gain more money. Pretty straightforward. Much as maybe you don't want to, or rather it's just too excessive, you might have to, but you're better off buying items to help you to a match. Now, some items may be useful, some might not, but obviously you're gonna get a medkit in case you take damage. You get coins, so you have some sort of income before you max out your coins. Obviously, you're gonna want to, basically for every method I mentioned, you're gonna want to do it before you hit that cap. Obviously, once you do it, then it doesn't matter. But buy items to help you get coins. More specifically, the medkits. Buy, heal, money, and stuff like that. Now for my last one, which, like I said, I don't know many options, but I'm just giving out ways that I've done in the past which worked for me. But obviously, it's to, I guess, well, it's mostly for monsters, let alone basically everything. Utility. But you're gonna want to try to kill, specifically survivors. Regarding this, like I said, this is for any monster, but kill survivors with an ability. Yeah, killing them, does gain some points. But if I'm not mistaken, or unless I'm wrong, I'm not really sure. But if you kill, let's say, a survivor with Vapor Skull, Rosemary's Scream, EXE's Trap, or Baldi's Notebooks, Niloticus Radioactiveness, Feed and Mimic's Bleeding, whatnot, or Inkfell Portals, or Valum too is his teleportation gimmick. I'm pretty sure don't get me wrong, they do give a little bit of extra points. Now, yeah, it might kind of suck that you have to waste an ability on someone who's already dead. We can just kill him and get it over with. But you want the extra points, try to finish him off with an ability that you're able to successfully land on, obviously. Don't just throw it out of nowhere and hope for the best you get it, right? And that's about it, or that's, I at least think, every method on the way to get coins. If you know any methods on how to get coins that maybe not many people might know, hey, put your suggestion, or rather tip, in the comments. Heart it so we can help each other out. Obviously, we need more money, right? Because skins, items, monsters, perhaps if you're rather more new, so new perhaps, and any other item that costs points really, so that way you know get it over with. Before I finish the video off, I have a couple of video suggestions too that I will be making in my community poll if you want to participate in it. But I've noticed there are some new, or rather mostly playing with newer players. So if you're someone who's recently getting into Pillar Chase 2, whether it's been an extremely long time or whether you're just someone new entirely, I'll be making a helpful beginner guide on how to play Pillar Chase 2. Rather just what you're doing as a survivor, what you're doing as a monster. Pretty simple, because like I said, in my opinion, I've noticed a bunch of new people, and I kind of want to help them out, help those innocent future, hopefully, pillar chasers, get them invested in the game, right? So I'm thinking, if you guys want to see a beginner guide for the new people, obviously, for Pillar Chase 2, vote whether you want to or you don't want to. So there's helpful guides. Number 2, I did mention this a long time ago, and I never really did it because I had other videos or other work going on. But if you rather want to see potentially videos, or as of right now, with everything new and updated, and now the Pillar Chase 2 currently won't be getting updated for a while, is how to survive every single monster in the game. Whether it's basic as Vapor, all the way to Vellum. But I will be excluding the one monsters that are not currently available, such as Springtrap, PCX, Stricken. At least I think it's those 3. Because obviously it doesn't make any sense to upload a how to survive or play with Springtrap if they're not in the game, obviously. When they do arrive at some point in the game, I will obviously make their guides on how to. But if you want to see that, then vote on the community poll and see what you guys wanted or not, Just want to see what my viewers want and, what they think about it. If you liked the video, leave a like down below. Consider joining the membership if you want. Subscribe, for more Pillar Chase 2 content, and that's about it. See you guys in the next video. Peace out.